Welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. In this video, we're going to be talking a whole bunch of information about how easy it is to truly become the millionaire in the Richard Heart ecosystem. We're going to be going over a spreadsheet, looking at some data, looking at Richard Hart's Twitter, and actually seeing what's happening across the way as well. So I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Without further ado, let's take a little peeky weeky at what Hex is actually doing right now. So at this point in time, Hex is currently sitting at 8.089 cents. So far today, we've got the high at 8.2 cents. So we do have some low resistance that we've been seeing, but a nice support right at 8 cents, which is really surprising. Not too surprising in all reality, because liquidity has actually been moving forward. And we're going to be taking a look at liquidity and a whole bunch of information on every single little bit as well. So again, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Let me just get everything kind of sorted and situated. For whatever reason, everything seems to have adjusted on my end. But as you come on in, definitely be sure to like, subscribe, and check out the channel for more information, because we are diving into all things Richard Hart. So what we're seeing right now is we have the 9 EMA cross the 15 EMA a few days ago back to the bullish range. So this is a very good start to what we are seeing the next bull run being, which we are anticipating to be rallying somewhere in the ballpark of about 10 cents. Now again, this actually comes from a few different metrics, and you can see right here on this particular chart. Let me zoom in just a smidge more. So we can see right here on this particular chart, there's a few different ways that I actually ended up getting this 10 cent range. So the first one that I looked at was actually going back all the way to November and checking to see how everything has happened. So if I actually turn on what we did, I actually did a fib retracement here. And this is back from November to a local high at the time, all the way down to the near local lows, sitting around the 2.3 cent range. Now, if we actually see, Hex has bounced perfectly off these ranges, and I do quite mean perfectly. It's very shocking, but not too shocking when you think about how it all works and how the true 0.618 ranges work, the 1.618, 2.618, so on and so forth. So we can see Hex actually came all the way back up to the 0.618 range. Unfortunately, at this point in time, it was unable to break that golden zone and golden pocket, so it did go down from there. Now, once we did break this range and region, and we actually broke through above the 0.786 range, that is the higher skies above. Now, it's quite comical, but this is the 1.618 range that we're seeing, and look how perfectly this comes back to test it every single time. So we came back, we tested the 1.618, we couldn't break it, we came back through, we tested here for a little bit of time, and when we broke through. Now, what's funny is the next range that you're going to be looking at is typically going to be the 2.618 range. Delta decided to come in and say hi, huh? You want to say hi, Pop? Delta? All right, he's just going to hang out. He's just going to hang out on the floor. Yeah, all right. Yeah, let me close the door real quick. I'm going to keep him in here. What a silly goob. The pup just came in and barged his way through. So back to what we were talking about right here. You can see how perfectly this came back, hit the 1.618 level, came back, retested it all the way back down, came back, retested again, and then we bounced all the way up. It flipped it as support at that point in time. It was going forward, came back down, didn't quite get to the 2.618, flipped this 1.618 level once again as support, and now we're going all the way up to the 2.618 level, which we first met the level of resistance. That's right at the 9 cent range. We've already hit the 9 cent range already, and you can see here on this candle, or on other candles here, and this one in particular, we actually ended up hitting 9.030. So it actually already hit this 2.618 range. We're coming back down, we're retesting this zone, and we should in theory be able to, retest this 2.618 range once again and break through onto the higher levels, onwards and upwards into the 10 cent range. Now, the way this is coming through, and you can see 10 cents as being possible, is if you just do a regular Fibonacci extension, for example, and I can come on down from here all the way to the previous local high, which was sitting around 7.7 cents, down to the local low, which was sitting around 5.2. You can see right now the next level that we should be looking at is going to be right here at the 1.618 range once again, which brings us to 9.997 cents. We'll just round up for ease of numbers and say 10 cents at this point in time. So this is definitely looking very freaking bullish for anyone who may be new to the ecosystem or new into the ecosystem. What a great time to be coming on board, folks. I love whenever I get to see this information, because that's just looking at one metric that we can see right now. The other one that you can see is if you actually break this down and look at the EMA of the 50 versus the 200-day EMA. This has been on an absolute tear, and starting as of February 28th, we now show that we did cross this range, or February 27th, we did cross the 50 and 200 EMA, which is a massive bullish indicator. So we've been nice and green all the way up until this range, and we're looking to see greener pastures onwards and upwards into the next level. Now from there, the next level, the 2.618 range, or 3.618 range, I guess at this point, would end up being right here at the 15 cent range. But first, we want to smash through this 10 cent region. Once we smash through the 10 cent zone, then the next level we'll be looking at is 15 cents. Now, the way this is working is because all of the liquidity right now is being pushed forward. If you have been watching this channel, you've been noticing this is something that we do check out on a daily basis. We always want to see where the liquidity is actually sitting in Hex, and most of the liquidity is in the Hex USDC pair. Right now, this red line is currently the price of Hex. Everything on the right of the red line is actually essentially sell orders, and everything to the left of the red line is essentially buy orders. Now, the way this works is actually using a system kind of called liquidity providing, or LP, liquidity position. You can see right now the range that most people are sitting at, based on what we're seeing, is really pushing the price all the way up right into this range. So we're sitting anywhere between 8 cents all the way up to about 9.4 cents. We have a massive position here. And if you are an LP provider, this is a great position for people to be selling. They have moved their Hex forward now at this point in time to essentially say that when the price hits these ranges, they will sell their Hex for your USDC. So you're going to come in and say, hey, I want to buy some Hex. I have USDC to pay for, and I want to buy Hex. Well, these people who are putting up the liquidity are actually saying, I will sell you my Hex when the price hits this level. And they're basically calling everyone to push the price forward, because this is a great way of seeing what we did not see before. Now, if I actually zoom out just a smidge here, and you can see we actually have a nice wall at this point in time, for those of y'all who missed it, all the way up into the 20 cent range. This is a fantastic wall. It used to only be about 3 million Hex was sitting here between this range, between 24 to 20 cents all the way up to about 24 cents. Now they've moved all this Hex up as well. So this is 300, 69, 369, 369, 369. So that's 4 million Hex sitting right here, all between the 20 cent to 21 cent range, and another 3 million Hex between these prices all the way up to 19 up to 25 cents. Now, again, this is people saying, hey, I will sell you my Hex when the price hits this amount. That's exactly what we're seeing. And all these folks are moving their moving their position from back here, because really at this point in time, I don't know who's sitting here. Lol. But at this point in time, the chances that prices do dip back down below this range are pretty slim. And so if you are a liquidity provider, you do want to be in a certain range so you can earn some fees. And right now, a phenomenal place to be at is anywhere in this range between really right about, my goodness. Well, appreciate everyone who hung in there. Apologize for the Apologize for the internet, man. I don't know what's going on here. It has been wonky for the last couple days, and usually I'll restart it right before the stream. But at this point in time, it is driving me a little bit crazy. So we're gonna have to figure out something at this point in time. Volume is really low and far away. Absolutely. Good evening, ATX and all hexicans. Good evening, Gloria. Tex Hex, what's up? Facing Reality. What up, Home Slice? What up? What up? Eating peanut butter and M&M. Damn, that sounds freaking delicious, dude. Damn, sounds good, Alan. This hex coin is going places. Bears, bulls, we're all just animals. Facts on facts. So true. Rugged, wrecked. Oh, yeah, no, he forgot to pay his internet provider, spending too much in hex. Fun while it lasted. Oh, shit, this lasted longer than my honeymoon. Oh shit, dude, y'all are hilarious. Well, hey, retweet this message out, guys, just real fast. Retweet the stream out, that way everyone knows that I'm back online. We should be at least back for, for the foreseeable future, because that's usually how it works. I just need to restart it, anyways. So going back to what we were talking about right now, the fees for everyone are going to be right here in this range. Now, again, as the price of hex starts moving out of this range here, it will actually end up to where they no longer earn fees. So to kind of give you an example real fast, because some people are on this full range price point, but you can see the APR right now is only about 20% APR if you're on a full range providing this full scale. So I don't see this being the most advantageous place to end up being, because that's basically you playing the entire chart. And there's no point in really playing the entire chart, because it's not that volatile. While the price can go up and down very quickly, it still has enough liquidity in it to where it's not going to pump up and down real fast. So you do typically want to provide your liquidity within a certain range. And so if I end up getting out of that range, I can see that you can see the APR ends up bumping up to about 304%. So they do want it to fall within this range. And a lot of folks who are sitting here over here in this range are no longer earning any sort of liquidity or earning any sort of fees, especially if you're focused primarily right here, anywhere between this 3 cent to 5 cent range. You're not going to be earning too many fees, because that's just how liquidity providing works. So if your range is all the way back to this 3 cent range, just for example, this 3 cent range all the way to the 5 cent range, then again, you can see you aren't going to be earning any sort of fees whatsoever. And that's just, you don't want to be in that position. Why would you want to be in there? Now, some folks are here where they actually play this 3 to 10 cent range, which again, you can see the APR is sitting roughly around 84%, but you can really start narrowing it down and take a look over here and just kind of make this to where you start earning roughly about $10 a day, $8 a day, and you can make this number right where you like it to be. Now, again, you can see where the most active hex price assumption will end up being. So we do anticipate that it'll probably be here in anywhere between this 8 to 9 cent region. Why? Because we do have a lot of support already at the 8 cent range. So right here, you can see right above the 8 cent range, we've already retested it, came back as support, retested again, and now we just need to flip it. Once we've really passed the 9 cent range, then we're just onwards and upwards. So it's just a matter of time before we do get there. I wanted to share that information with y'all because I think it's important for everyone to know. Now again, what's up, Ted Nelson? How are you, my friend? What's up, Ted? Yes, sir. So guys, back to what we were talking about, how to become a millionaire in the RH ecosystem. I think I was watching an RH Max short or a video or something like that, where he was trying to say, like, how much would you need in order to become a millionaire? And of course, you can always talk and say certain numbers, but me being the way I am, I like to make things in a visual perspective. And so what I did was I basically dove in and I made this little spreadsheet to make it more visual for a lot of folks. So again, there's multiple ways of becoming a crypto millionaire. This is just looking at a few different examples right now, but let's just say, for example, that you started out with 5,000 PulseX, and again, PulseX isn't around yet, so we're just going to say, maybe you have $5,000 worth of hex. Well, in order for you to become a millionaire at this point in time, then you're going to end up needing roughly about a 50x on this one, right? And so, whoops, way more than that, 500x. Okay, cool. All right, so that would put you right into the millionaire status. Now, that's a 250x if you were to get in today with $5,000 and essentially just kind of assuming what it is. But that didn't really make too much sense. So I actually made the spreadsheet a little bit better and I said, okay, let's say you have some exact prices, some coins, what exactly it is, how many X's do you need? And this is where this spreadsheet came into play. So this one was actually a fun spreadsheet that I had fun making, because I basically said if you were to have $100,000 with the current price sitting at 8.5 cents, then you would need 118x in order to get there. Now, what would that do to the price? It would put the price at $10, and that would make you a millionaire. Now, this is one way of doing it right now. Let's just say, for example, that you had, 300,000. It'll automatically figure out all this math for you. So the price would end up needing to be $3.33 or a 39x from the current price. Now let's just say you were able to sacrifice, or let's just assume that you missed the sacrifice completely. You didn't get involved with the sacrifice, you missed it completely. How many tokens would you need in order to become a millionaire in PulseChain and PulseX? And this was a fun question that I had. So basically, assuming that the price is sitting in the ballpark of about 0.001 from the launch price, if you were able to get 100 million tokens at that price, and you know what I might need to do is actually determine how much, and I'll figure that out, but how much it would actually end up costing, because this was more or less assuming that you were already able to participate in the sacrifice. It's 1, 2, 3 times 0.001. So that would end up being roughly about $100,000 to get there if the current price of PulseChain was sitting at 0.001. Now let's just say that you in fact were able to sacrifice for PulseChain. Then we know that the current price, at least in terms of the SAC value, was sitting somewhere in the ballpark of about 0.0001 or 3 zeros and a 1. So that would actually end up needing the price to reach 1 penny. You would have 100 million PulseChain coins, and you would need to do 100x at that point in time. So that would actually make you a millionaire. All very simple and all very easy. Now again, however many tokens you need, you can all break this down, because you can say I was able to end up getting 500,000 tokens, and that would mean you would still need to get a 24x from how much hex you currently have at the current price. The price would need to be $2, and that would make you a millionaire. So oh shit, Alan Fizmay, do you have a spreadsheet on Patreon and how to rug people? That's one way to become a millionaire. That's actually the fastest way in all reality to become a millionaire. Make a new coin and have a whole bunch of people invest in it, Zen, and basically fucking everyone over. So that's essentially the fastest way. Not gonna say that that is a rug pull per se, but definitely seems that they aren't making any money, and there's a whole bunch of people still buying it for whatever reason, one way or another. But this was a fun little spreadsheet that I did get a chance to make. It was actually quite a bit of fun on this one, because this was a nice little strategy that I was like, okay, what would you end up needing to be, assuming that the price is 100 or 0.001, for example, then you would just need a 10x if you were able to capture 100 million PulseX coins, or 100 million PulseChain coins would be the same thing. And right there, that current price would put it right here up to a penny. A 10x here, a 10x here would put you right at a millionaire for both, making you a multi-millionaire. Now again, if you are in hex right now, we can assume that you were able to have some amount of hex at this point in time. Of course, if you're staked, you're going to continue to earn more every single day. But for fun, let's just say that you were only able to so far capture 100,000. Well, the goal that you should be looking for in order to make that number reality, to become a millionaire in hex, with the current price at 8.5 cents, and again, the current average price is where you end up getting your amount at, would need to be $10. So that's a very fun little thing that I had a chance to make, and I just wanted to share it with everyone. And again, more than happy to have fun with everyone at all of these spreadsheets as well. If you do want access to any of the spreadsheets, just go to patreon.com/ATXcrypto, and they are available to you as well. So for anyone who actually wants to Make a strategy, guys. This is when things could get really freaking fun. I think in the beginning of PulseChain launching, we're going to be seeing a whole bunch of things happen. A whole bunch of different strategies are going to be coming into play. And at this point in time is now the time where you want to be making some sort of strategy for yourself. Because if you aren't doing something right now to properly plan and make plans right now, again, the 5 P's, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Plan right now to see what you are going to need in order to get there, right? How much coins will you need in order to succeed? How much, whether it be tokens, whether it be your actual play. My recommendation that I'm saying to everyone is that get yourself the 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars are PulseChain, PulseX, Hex, and on both chains, right? For Hex on PulseChain and Hex on Ethereum. Those are the 4 pillars that you can get right now to basically secure your future going forward. Now, if you want to mess with other sort of cryptos and other sort of projects and other sort of DeFi applications that are going to be coming around, which are going to be a lot of, I highly would suggest moving whatever you need into a separate wallet that does not touch the main foundation, that doesn't touch the 4 pillars. Because if you want to take it to where you're going to say, hey, I'm going to connect this to Liquid Loans, for example, or I'm going to use this for Power City and use their, the Liquidity protocol that they're all forking. Well, I'm personally not going to be touching the ones that I have my stakes on. I'm not going to be messing with anything like that. It's so simple for you to just send whatever you need to a new wallet, a new address, brand new, that doesn't connect you to the original foundation pillars. So let's just say, for example, that you have 500 million PulseChain and you want to go take a loan out on 100 million PulseChain. Well, I'm not going to be doing that, or I wouldn't be doing that with the foundation pillar, right? You don't do it with your main wallet. You send it to a separate wallet that doesn't have any stakes, that doesn't have anything like that, and then you can start doing it. Now, guys, I heard this the other day on Randy's stream. And what's hilarious about it is I don't know how people still don't understand, or maybe it's just my background from IT, or I don't know what it is, or maybe I'm just cautious. But I heard he had a buddy just lose 10,000 USDC because of a copy paste glitch. Now, again, I'm going to always say user error. I'm never going to say the computer messed up, because I think copy paste glitches, it just doesn't just mess up on its own. But that's a whole different discussion, a whole different argument for a whole different day. What I'm referring to is the fact that they created an account, they went to Panama, they opened a new bank account, they received the instructions for where to send the money to in order to send it to that deposit for that account. And then they sent what they wanted to in the first transaction without testing it at all. And I think that is by far one of the dumbest things you can do. I don't care if you've been in this ecosystem for a year, 5 years, 10 years, if you've been in since day one of Bitcoin. If you aren't sending a test transaction to a new wallet that you've never sent anything to before, then that's on you, boo-boo. If you lose that money, that's because you fucked it up. That's because you didn't do your due diligence. And while it sucks that they lost $10,000 in one freaking go, the fact that they didn't even try to do a test transaction means that they were basically going to inevitably fail at some point in time. Like, if they had $100,000, would they just send it all in one go? I certainly hope not. Now, maybe this particular person, that 10,000 was their test fund. That was their test run. And again, I just don't think that's the case. I'm going to always say, like, if you're going to be sending over $100,000, dude, send over $100. Make sure it gets to where it needs to get to, right? Send over 500, but like to send over 10 racks at once and then just lose it because of a error of a copy paste, the fact that the B somehow switched to a 6, I just don't buy that shit. I don't think the copy paste was the issue. I think the issue was you didn't do your due diligence and send a test run. Guys, when we're on a brand new network, the highest thing that I can recommend anyone to do is fucking test transactions, right? Like if you've never messed with the protocol before, if you've never messed with the system before, if you've never sent money to a certain thing, if you've never bought a certain product, do a freaking test run, man. Like if you've never staked before and it's your first time because PulseChain's brand new and you're seeing how it all works. If you've never staked before on the Ethereum network, do a test stake first, dude. Make sure you understand how it works. Make sure it shows up where it's supposed to. Make sure you understand how the whole protocol works. Like, the fact that people don't do test transactions blows my freaking mind. In fact, we saw it with the God whale, and again, I was shocked whenever I saw it because this was a God whale who's got billions of dollars, and I understand they got billions, you know what I mean? Billions with a B. So the fact that they went and sent, I think it was like 260 million. It was 26 million on the first transaction to a brand new wallet that's never been touched, never been done, never had anything sent to it before. The very first transaction was $26 million. Now, to the most average normal person, like that would just wreck them if they just happened to do that copy paste error. But again, I'm not even going to blame the computer at this point in time. That's user error all day. Did you do a test run first? So guys, do a freaking test run. Make sure that the money that you say that you sent to that wallet that's supposed to be receiving it is getting it. Like what? We don't have to wait long to see these transactions. You don't have to wait days, weeks, or months to see if it shows up. So what is the harm of paying a double gas fee if you make sure that your money is going to get to where it's being sent to? I don't personally see the harm in that. I don't understand how someone can create a brand new account, say it's Coinbase, say it's Kraken, and you've never off-ramped into that wallet before. You've never had a chance to off-ramp your crypto into fiat. And then you want to go and take out $100,000 of profit, for example, and then you think you already know what you're doing, so you send it to a wallet that you got to understand. In crypto, there is no freaking customer service. When you send that shit gone. It's gone. Hopefully it got sent to the right place, but it's gone. You can't, there's no recourse to say, oh no, I sent it to the wrong place. Undo. Oh no, call them up and say, you know, I need that money back because I was wrong and they didn't deserve it. Like, can't do that. So why run the risk of that happening? Like, do a test transaction first, man. Start out with $100. I don't care if that's small to you. I don't care if that's a lot. Start out even smaller, by the way. But if that's not a lot to you, then I don't care. Do a test run. Make sure that it gets to where it goes. Make sure it is where it's supposed to be receiving. Make sure that that $100 that you sent off into your own fiat world is received into that freaking fiat world. I just don't see the hurry and like needing it right away, because guys, if you can imagine just losing either $10,000, $100,000, just like that, just because you didn't take the time to do the research and make sure that you were supposed to be sending it there. Mind-blowing, folks. Absolutely mind-blowing. And guys, I really hope I stress this enough to everyone that when PulseChain launches, there's going to be a lot of new shiny objects. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff happening, and people are going to be tempted to just send bigger transactions because they want to be one of the first. Do a test transaction first. Like, even in the Ethereum wallets, or even in your own other wallets, Solana, Polygon, whatever networks that you could be messing with, do a test transaction first. Test transactions are by far one of the best things you can do in the world of crypto, and that's probably why we still have testnet at this time for PulseChain. Because why? You don't want to launch something when it's not fully ready and then have someone just get jeopardized and lose this money. So if I can't stress this enough, guys, hopefully I've definitely made a little point on this. But I hope that y'all can understand the benefit of this. Yeah, Zen. Lol. Can we go back to tally sticks to transact? Or is it not a good environment? Yeah, exactly. We need a Greta Thunberg or Thunberg Enu. What would be the amount of users? What would be the amount of users we would need on board to reach all-time high on Hex? For example, $3 Hex. Any idea? Me on that, numbers changes. Like, so, like for example, I think Johnny Chaos tried sending something, And, you know, even Richard Hart kind of like, once again, you know, tells people whenever they're wrong. And he was trying to say that it just needed like $10 million worth of a buy to get us back to all-time highs. And, you know, and then Richard Hart's like, you're wrong. So let's see if I can exactly find it, because he was just pulling up his number. Yeah, it's right here. So this was the Johnny Chaos tweet. He said 10 million stands between us and 12.5 cents hex. If the paper hands could stop checking out, lol, that's a 40% move. But no, y'all want to garage sale that shit. Go ahead, right? And so basically it was like $10 million. And you can assume that if this was to happen, you can see how this 35% slippage right here, they would push the price against themselves so freaking much. If anyone was to come in with that amount of cash right now, they would only get 35% worth of their value, because again, the liquidity is very, very low at this point in time. You would push the price against yourself a lot, and you would end up only getting roughly about $6.5 million worth of hex, even though you put in 10 million. So while that's true, it's not true, right? And so it's like it's tough to say. There's not like a set number to really say, because you're going to push the price. If we were to look at any sort of metrics, you push the price against yourself so heavily if you just type in one big number. So he said this is a cheat sheet to determine liquidity conditions. Oh, here you go. Let me actually click it right here, because I think Richard Hart had to come in, and he said that's not how that works. That would be your price as you bought up all the cheaper supply on the way up. The coins at the end of that trade would be far higher in price. Your screenshot shows an average of your entry, not the price movement underlying. Thus, price go higher. So he was just basically trying to show like an estimate of the sheer force very little money has to move in a simple way, which is all he was trying to convey. I don't think Richard Hart ever replied back anything more to it. I'm pretty sure he didn't. No, he didn't. So it's just funny that like even he comes through, Richard Hart once again says, guys, that's not at all how that system works. Like, as this person was to buy the $10 million worth of hex, they would again, one, push the price against themselves very heavily. They would take a 35% slippage, which is massive. I don't recommend anyone ever do that, which is why we're not seeing like massive whales come in right now who have hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars for Genesis wallets, for Genesis Ethereum, who've been sitting here waiting to possibly look for entry prices, because even $1 million right now pushes the price against themselves quite a bit. So it's just funny how it all works. Right now they have to do little increments of 500,000, for example, and then you can kind of scoop up some, but then the price goes up, even that movement as well. Yeah, so like this is just what they would end up getting, and then the price would actually end up being much higher, because most of the time people are also going to be rallying on the way up. So it's tough to say the amount of users, because we have more users now than ever already, Mayan, just to answer the question. So we already have more users now than ever. In fact, if you look over here on Hex Daily Stats, this actually tells us right now, if you scroll over, all the way over to the right, that right now we have grown more users every single day. Right now we're sitting on 323,818 holders and 119,000 miners. So this is literally showing that this number has done nothing but go up. There's a couple days where we'll lose a couple of miners, which you can see, but for the most part, these numbers always go up. And that doesn't necessarily correlate to the price, or in order to reach $3 hex. Does that make sense? Because the amount of users can't, like, you could have 100,000 people and you could have one whale, right? So 100,000 people with $1,000 a piece, making it, you know, their purchase somewhere around $10 million or something like that. Or you could have one whale. So one whale can basically move markets. So you can't really go off of how many users you would need to onboard. There's no number of users. The number of users has done nothing but gone up this entire time, and price has done nothing but gone down for the last year. So users is not a good metric to judge. It's, you know, how much dollar value would be needed. But again, it's hard to say the dollar value, because if you try typing this into a system, it doesn't reflect properly, because it only shows of what's available in the market. And so basically, if like the DAI holder or the PulseX holder, if you were to, for example, go into Etherscan and look at the DAI holder right now, I think we were the number 3 DAI stablecoin for for Pulse X sacrifice. Oh, we're back up to number one. Hey, interesting. It's interesting. So we've been moving anywhere between this 1, 2, and 3 spot. We're now back in the number 1 spot right now. So we're sitting on $280 million worth of DAI right now, the number 1 holder. And so if all this was to come in, for example, and you try to type this in and say, how much would I end up getting? Just for example, and I can kind of show you right here. Swap, just to kind of showcase something real fast. I guess it would be Uniswap would be the better way of doing it. Uniswap. All right. So let me pull up Uniswap, launch app. Cool. And then you can just kind of see, like, so 280 million DAI, with Hex being the token that you would buy. 280 million DAI would push the price up against itself like 99% or something. Like you would get hammered on slippage right there. It would be terrible. Like price impact warning. You would move the price up against yourself. You would eat a 99% slippage. You would only get $1.5 million worth of Hex, even though you put in $280 million worth. If you were to try to do this at a market buy right now, you would get freaking decimated, and that would not be good. So it's tough to say, like, how much dollars would it end up needing as well. You can't base it on users. You can't base it on dollars. It's a slow climb that ends up happening for sure over time. But as we keep on increasing the adoption, as we keep on increasing the knowledge of people, the DeFi system, the DeFi world, it's more likely that we are going to end up reaching the $3 range than unlikely. What's up, Academaciated? How dare you, Alan? How dare you? Richard sends 16 billion no test transaction. Dude, I can't even, like, oh God, did he really? Is that how much he sent on the when he first moved wallets over? I guess. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. When he sacrificed moved it from PulseChain to PulseX, I betcha he did that in like one transaction, which, you know, now that you say that out loud, it freaking sounds mind-boggling, dude. And that's basically what ended up happening, right? Because he sent over billions whenever that all first happened. So yeah, let's just see the very last page. Oh, it wasn't on the last day either. Dang. I'd have to go back and find the transaction where the billion was actually sent, because it was like day 15 again or something like that. I forget the exact day. So maybe I'll look at that and we'll figure that out in some other video going forward in the future. But damn, dude. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. $16 billion. He's like, fuck it. If it's gone, it's gone. That would be freaking wild. Richard is a degen. He probably missed a letter off the end. Very easily done when copy and paste. Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, I'm not gonna blame copy and paste. That's user error once again. Copy and paste didn't screw up. That's user error all day. So don't be a silly fool. Like, I heard Randy talking about it. Like, use the QR code. Yes, sure, that's one way of ensuring that you get it sent to a more likely address to be correct and accurate. The QR code is definitely more likely to send it to the right place. But really, the simple rule of thumb, do a freaking test transaction, man. Like, I don't care how freaking wealthy you are. Do a test transaction. Who cares if you have to pay gas fees twice, especially if you're wealthy? What the fuck are you complaining about? Send it. Make sure it works. Once it works, cool. If it doesn't, then guess what? You lost maybe $100. Like, that's way better than losing 10K. To do 10K on the first transaction ever sent off ramp to anywhere or to a new bank or anything is crazy, dude. I see that as just like, that's just the exact wrong way of how to do it. Billions with the V. Digging the hat. Appreciate that, Fox Murder. But yeah, I'm definitely a Mulder for digging the hat too. Don't send $100. Imagine sending and failing. A test run with BTC back in 2010. Yeah. That's what I did. Send a penny. Facts, dude. Lemon for interaction. I agree. Like, and again, like this is back to what we're talking about. Like, send a penny, send a dollar, send whatever small amount that you find is insignificant, right? Overall, because like if it costs more in gas to send it than it does, then that's probably a good test transaction, right? And so it's gonna if it's gonna cost you $15 to send or $3 to send or whatever the case may be, because Ethereum gas fees are ridiculous and they go up and down all the time. So if you're messing with the Ethereum network at this point in time and you're saying, cool, I will send this amount, say $1, to this new wallet that I've never sent money to before, make sure it gets it. It's that simple. Like, do a test transaction. Like, yes, Finbear is absolutely correct. Ooh, I am late. Well, you missed the rug in the beginning, so you're not too late, I guess. What's up, hexicans? What's up, Ten Top? Hello, my friend. If you 5x the users, you 5 square the price. Yeah, exactly. So that's one way of looking at it too. You just go off of it's just based on a whole different metric of how you're trying to figure everything out, for sure. So yeah, if you 5x the users, you could definitely 5 squared 25x the price, basically. And that's one way of doing it. But again, we've been gaining people every single day, right? I mean, we've got more people now in the ecosystem than ever. We're almost up to 400,000 holders at this point in time. We're just past the 300,000, should I say. We're above 120,000 now for stakers. So, I mean, this number's definitely increasing every single day. Finbear, what's up? Yeah, send them lemons for sure. That is regarding fair value. Okay, yeah, exactly. That's definitely one way of looking at it too. What's up, John Favale? How are you doing, my friend? Are we going to be millionaires? Yes, sir. Westcott, we sure are. So, crypto military vet, hey, what's up? So guys, to kind of go back and show you, so again, the system kind of got rugged a little bit in the beginning. So to anyone who's showing up late, welcome back to the stream. But let me go back and just kind of show you what we talked about early on. And again, I don't know, because there was a portion in time where unfortunately we ended up getting missed on it. And by the way, guys, I'm going to be doing a interview with Westcott Crypto as well. If you aren't familiar with his work, he is freaking awesome. So that's going to be next week. Stay tuned for that as well. Gabriel, what's going on, my friend? Don't worry, folks. Don't worry. We still in this. We still in this, bitch. So we still here. We having fun with all of y'all right now. So what we had talked about in the very beginning was one, let's just kind of do a quick little recap. One, we got the PulseChain update happening with the developers. So this is PulseChain right here. You can see they're all active as of March 14th. Richard Hart last active as of March 14th. And guys, there's a lot of activity for all these developers, and Richard Hart included, all starting March 14th. He hasn't been on since yesterday, but that's okay. That's okay. If you look at the PulseX, they said PulseX was done. In the tweet by Richard Hart as well, he actually said PulseX is done. So bam, dude, that is freaking bullish. You can see all the PulseX developers, March 15th. Again, all these developers have been very active as of recently, Richard Hart included, as of, March 14th. So very freaking bullish, guys. It still leads me to believe that we are within the week span of what we're looking at right now. The hex price is currently sitting at 8.1 cents, and I broke down kind of what we would anticipate here in the near future. So if you actually break this down, you have the 200 EMA versus the 50 EMA. They just crossed back in February. Very bullish sign for hex in general, or very bullish indicator in terms of movement and assets of whatever you're looking at. These crossing the 50 EMA, crossing the 200 EMA. Massive bullish indicator right there. And then I actually broke it down to where we would see kind of what hex would end up doing. So you can see I actually broke it down back from November, and I did a fib retracement extension. I basically said if I go from the low of November all the way up to that local high down to the local low at that time, what would we be looking at? And it's so scary how similar or how accurate this thing hit. So you can see this is a 1.618 level, and we perfectly came up. We tested it. We kind of had a little breakout, but we didn't get a chance to fully break out. We then broke down. We came back. We retested it, finally broke through, flipped it as support, came back down, used it as support. From here, we've actually been moving on the way up again, flipped it back down, used it as support once again, flipped it up to the 2.618 level, bringing this here to where we're actually hitting the 9 cent threshold, which is this range, now hitting that level of resistance. On average, you can see we do get a couple of tests, a retest at least, so it is likely that we'll come back up. We'll retest this a couple times, play here within this range, maybe break down below it, stay here in this 8 8.5 to 8 cent range, or 8 to 9 cent range, and then break through, right? And that's kind of the next level. So what happens if we end up breaking out of the next level? Well, that's going to end up pushing us all the way up to, with this fib trace right here, it's going to end up taking us right to the 1.618 level, or it's going to bring us right to about the 10 cent range that we've been waiting for. So this is kind of that next level of resistance, or the next level that I'm looking for once we break out of the new range. Again, you can see the next range that we need to break is this 2.618 level. Once we break through there, I do anticipate we're going to have some sort of bounce off this a few times, just kind of going through, trying to break through. Once we break out, we kind of get that nice little move up, and you can see on average you'll get a little break, you'll come back down, we'll get a little break, we'll try to come up a little bit, and we want to flip it as support, and then we kind of start moving up. We can either come back down, flip it as support, and then you start moving on the way up again into the 10 cent range. And that's kind of what's to be expected now, especially with all of the bullish news happening within the Hex ecosystem. So that was the first thing that we looked at. Next thing that we looked at was liquidity. At this point in time, all of the liquidity has now moved up. There was only previously this wall, 19.6 cents, and then roughly in this 24 to 25 cent range, there was about 3 million hex sitting here. This came right after the Access Alive and Crypto Sloth video where he explained how liquidity providing works. And guys, liquidity providing can make some decent money as well. So you can see we now have a lot of support in this range. These are all sell orders basically at this point in time. This is people saying, hey, I'm willing to sell you my hex. I'm willing to sell you my hex for the price of USDC. So you give me USDC, I'll give you my hex, but you need to end up getting here at this level. So it's almost drawing people up to that level. It really tries to entice people to move the price up. And this is exactly what Access Alive was talking about. So kudos to that video. It looks like that explanation has actually helped a few people kind of understand liquidity providing a little bit better. I did a brief explanation here at this point in time, but for all of the folks who are back here in this range, they're basically no longer making any money, right? Anywhere between this 3 cent range, anywhere up into this 5 cent range. If you are a liquidity provider, that's not good, because if you are here in the 3 cent range all the way to the 5 cent range, well, guess what? You're outside of the range already at the 8 cents. So you're not earning any fees at all at this point in time. And that's useless if you are a liquidity provider. You at least want to earn some fees. And anyone who is in this range has essentially moved on its way out of this range. So not necessarily good in this regard. That would basically mean that you would have, $1,000 sitting in here waiting for people to come back and basically say, I'll give you my USDC. You give me your hex and I'll sell you my USDC, and you give me your hex here at this price. At this point in time, I don't see us getting below this range. So if we move this on up, if you're a liquidity provider, you want to earn a certain range and you want to be within a certain range as well. So right now we see that the current price of hex is sitting anywhere between 8.1 cents all the way down to about 7, right? I'll say 7.7 just to make it simple. So 7.7 cents, and all the way up to about the 10 cent range. If you're here within this region right now, this is a phenomenal region. There's some price action happening, but you can see you're going to be getting roughly about a 381% APR. So if you are earning this is roughly about $10 a day with $1,000 deposited. And again, you are providing these sort of coins in here, whether it be USDC and hex. You can see the range right now, but you would be getting roughly about $10 a day providing liquidity in this range. Anywhere between here, people are not earning any sort of liquidity. Not good for them. They want to move that up because they typically, if you're a liquidity provider, you want to start earning some fees, and this is where you can start earning some fees. So anytime that the price is here in this range, you can see there's going to be some days where liquidity providing could be as high as $16. There's going to be some days where liquidity providing could be as low as $8. And this is definitely within a certain range. So if you think the hex price is going to fall within this region, well, you might look at providing liquidity here within this range. Now, why does this price fluctuate so much between the $8 and $20 that you can see? Well, there's already a lot of people already providing liquidity here within this range. So, of course, the more people that provide liquidity within a certain range, or LP in a certain range between this, 8 to 9 cent region, that you're going to not earn as many fees because it gets divvied up between all the liquidity providers. But if you are a person who says, I think the price could fall as low as, we'll say, below 8 cents. Well, on certain days, you could potentially be earning $24, $25. Now, keep in mind, guys, there is such a thing as impermanent loss. If you don't understand how impermanent loss works, you just want to try to do a little bit more due diligence. You can offset the impermanent loss based on the amount of fees that you also make. So there's different ways of looking at it. But essentially, the easy way to understand impermanent loss is basically the price. If you're holding 2 coins, one of them runs and goes off, that the amount that you're holding between the 2 coins would actually be less than if you had just done nothing. That's the easy way of explaining it. But again, in some cases, if you actually provide liquidity and you're actually earning these fees anywhere between this $8 range per day, and if the price ends up moving on the way up, and if there's no one providing liquidity here in this range, you could potentially be earning, $20 a day, or 754% APR. So it's just a fun little thing for a lot of folks to kind of understand. We talked about this briefly in the beginning of the stream. I hope that kind of better explains anyone who may have been late. We still hearing this? Yeah, exactly. What's up, Big GZ? Patreon supporter right there. Much love, my friend. PulseX, Pulse, and Hex. Let's go. Absolutely, Pac-Man. I was thinking maybe RH gives updates on weekends, so buyers of Hex don't get wrecked by fees on Ethereum. Well, I mean, luckily, yeah. What is today? Thursday? Luckily, fees right now, I mean, dude, anything in the 20 freaking Gwei level, I gotta say, like, it sucks to say, but anything in this range, it now seems like that's more or less the better. I don't even want to say, like, it's, if you're getting Gwei around 20 right now, then that's kind of like what's to be expected. It sucks because we don't really see Gwei go down below 20, and as the price keeps going up, it makes it that much more expensive to transact on the Ethereum network. And this is all during a bear market. Like, granted, yeah, we're out of the bull, and I understand that. Right now it's sitting at 33 Gwei, average. But I mean, look at this. How often do you see any of these days lit up? 0 to 10 Gwei? None. And this is all within the last 30 days, granted. So again, 0 to 10 days, no days lit up. 10 to 20, no days lit up. And then you start getting the 20 to 30, and then you can start getting some fees in this range where you're, messing with the 10, the 20, the 30. Very rarely, very freaking rarely do you see this 10 to 20. Right? It happens, but it doesn't happen nearly enough. And on average, it is more likely that it's better to transact on Sunday and Monday now, surprisingly enough. This has been typically Saturday and Sunday to transact. Saturday has been a brutal day over the last 30 days to transact. This is a phenomenal website. If you aren't familiar with it, it's hex.vision. I'll go ahead and just put this in the chat as well. Just so that way if anyone wants to see it as well, you're more than welcome to check it out. But yeah, so I would think that right now the Sunday is looking to be the best day to transact if you're looking to do any sort of mining or minting or burning or transferring of your tokens. Phenomenal day to look at doing it on Sunday. Monday is looking like the second best day, but I've been seeing this sitting in the 20 to 28 Gwei, and that seems to be a pretty decent price, dude. It's so rare that you see this one transaction where you'll get 10 to 20 Gwei, and I get it's rare, it can happen, I understand that for sure, but again, it doesn't happen too often. So unless you're really paying a lot of attention to it, then I would just be mindful of what you're seeing. Again, this is all within the last 30 days, so it is possible to get it within that range. It's just something you have to keep your eye on. Cool. So that was a quick little recap, I guess, of what we had talked about briefly. Oh, and then I'm going to go through here and actually show you that becoming a crypto millionaire, because that's what we here for, right? Becoming them millionaires, making that millionaire money, boy. All right, so what we got here? Big GZ, what's up, my friend? Gabriel, I was thinking exactly. What's up, my boy? ATX, how you doing, Hub? Love seeing you. Bristology, just know that providing liquidity basically means you're selling your coins if the price goes up. Exactly, yeah. So it's not as simple as like if you're a liquidity provider is like saying that you get to earn some extra fees. It's not like staking. It is completely different. So the way this works is as the price moves up and you are providing, we'll say for example Hex, well, as this price moves up, well, that Hex ends up turning into USDC. So look at where we first started here, okay? So this is just kind of giving you a little rundown of how it all works. You can see if you actually look right here in the corner, You can see USDC versus hex. You would basically put up 1,000. I'm just going to assume the USDC is 0. I could probably make this actually show 0. There you go. So let's just say you put up $1,000 worth of hex. Well, that turns into 12,000 hex. In order to put up that ratio, you can start at this point in time providing liquidity if you wanted to. Now, keep in mind, as the price goes up, look what happens to hex. You start losing your hex and you start getting USDC. So look how much hex you have now at this point in time. Now, granted, the same thing can happen if you end up getting fully out of the ecosystem, or if it gets out of your range. Well, now you no longer have hex. You only have USDC. It sells all of your hex, converts it all into USDC. You can see it showing 996. That is kind of that talk about impermanent loss, but this isn't necessarily into that discussion right now. This is saying for if you are looking to sell your hex, phenomenal way to provide positive network performance and actually help the ecosystem instead of just doing a market dump, for example. You could even concentrate this even more if you are wanting to get out of the ecosystem a little faster. Say, for example, you know for a fact that you're going to be selling and you want to sell right now, and you think the price in the next few days is going to go anywhere between 8 cents all the way up to 9 cents. Well, you could potentially sell all the way up through that whole range as well. And you can see right now you start out with 1,000, and then within all of this span of time, you make a little bit of fees and then you get out. So this is assuming that the price ends up being 8.55 cents at that point in time. You would no longer have hex. You would convert it all into USDC. You can do what you will at that point in time with what you have. So Bristology makes a great point. Definitely good for everyone to know. And you know, I'll definitely talk about that kind of in some more detail, I guess. We definitely should be focusing a little bit more on how all this works. And you know, maybe that would have been better if I had zoomed in. But you know, we learn, we live. It happens. There you go. When PulseChain launches, we won't need that site anymore. Yeah, Hex.Vision has been great for like a lot of years, man. It's been around for quite some time. Kudos and props to the creator of Hex.Vision. Love what they do. And you know, allows you to see like different staking, different all that stuff. So if you actually wanted to come on in here, you can see like the next stake wall of when people are going to be selling. You can plan your stakes accordingly around it. So if you actually wanted to see, there's going to be another big stake wall ending roughly about February. Oh, this is already passed. This has already happened. February 2023. Yeah, so I need to update the dates on here. But yeah, y'all kind of get the idea. Oh, it's pulling up from December 19th. Cool. So this is just saying that, again, if you just want to see like when the next stake wall is ending, you can look that, okay, the next big one is going to be roughly about November. There's another one roughly in November as well. And so all of these are ending. If you want to try to plan your stakes accordingly, you can definitely plan your stakes around this range to say, I want to front run before the price of the T-share rate goes up, because when these stakes end, that's how it calculates, and the T-share rate goes off of these stakes ending to make sure that they can't reacquire the same amount of T-shares that they had whenever they first started. So yeah, great point. Ahoy there, hexicans. What's up? What's up, Monkey Magic? How you doing, my friend? But yeah, and then the next one that we want to talk about here, let me just kind of briefly look over here, say what's up to chat. What kind of questions y'all got as well? We can definitely take a look over here on some questions. Right on, lol. Hello, everyone. It's always a great day. Chris Crypto, I 100% agree with this statement right there. It is always a fantastic day. Bristology says, recently I provided liquidity, did 5K on both sides, 10K in total. After the price run up, I walked away with 12K in USDC and 380 in fees collected, about $75 in startup and in fees. So bam, this is what I'm saying. Like, there's definitely potential to make some money providing liquidity. You just gotta, like, don't just hop in if you've never done it before. And if you haven't done it before, maybe start small, right? Like we talk about, do test transactions, provide liquidity within a certain range and see what happens. Like, oh, I have 100 hex and then I put it here within a certain range. And what happened? It all turned into USDC. Yeah, you know what I mean? I only have 8 cents now, whatever the case would be. I don't know how that math works out. I'm just saying, do small transactions first, learn how it works. And yes, you will end up paying gas fees. Like, That's how this whole ecosystem works. Gas fees suck. That's why PulseChain's being made and created. But if you don't understand this basic part of liquidity providing now, when PulseChain does launch, you're going to have probably a harder time understanding providing liquidity on the new network, and you can potentially make some good fees during that range as well, as long as you understand. So Brasology has a phenomenal point. You can definitely make some money. You put up 10K, you walk away with 12K after, you know, everything like that, and then again you get $380 in fees. Phenomenal. Great move, Brasology. Absolutely love that. Like, kudos. Right on with that movement right there. So the other thing that I talked about right before I got rugged earlier on the stream was actually going to be looking at the becoming a crypto millionaire, right? And becoming a crypto millionaire in this ecosystem. So there was two different strategies that I had. One was just how much would your initial investment be if you just did X amount of multiples. So say, for example, you come into PulseChain, brand new, you put $1,000 and you basically end up getting 1,000x during that time. Well, you would then become a millionaire at that point in time, just based on how that works. Now let's just say, for example, that again you did 10,000. Well, you would only need to do 500, right? If that, or you'd only need to do 200. So my goodness, you'd only need 100x in order to end up becoming a millionaire in this example. Now, they actually said what would happen in terms of, like, that's if you have dollar value and what the multiple would be and how it would work. And this is between the three ecosystems that we love, the RH ecosystem, PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex. Well, what would you end up needing if it was actually price, right? So let's just say, for example, that the price of PulseChain is 0.001. Well, you would then need at least 100 million coins in order to get there, because the price would need to go up to 0.01 or 1 penny. That would then make you a millionaire in this point in time. Several people are in this position as well because they were given 10,000 points for every dollar that they sacrificed. So for some folks, they're already holding 100 million or more tokens. And I think I saw this on, I can't remember whose, I think it was your friend Somi had talked about, you know, how many holders are already in a certain range. And it was definitely quite a bit of holders, all within the 1,000 to 10,000 range, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I could be messing up his exact tweet that he had talked about, but it was something in the ballpark with, we actually have a massive amount of people all within that 1,000 to $10,000 sacrifice region. And you know, if you were to sacrifice, say, $10,000 dollars during that time, and you were given 10,000 points per dollar, well, that would then give you 100 million tokens, right? And so if the current price, and again, this isn't including sac price, right? This is just saying, if you come in fresh, you had no sacrifice, you weren't able to sacrifice, you missed the sacrifice, how much would you need at the current price in order to become a millionaire, and what would the price need to hit? This is kind of how that math works. It's very simple, and it basically says if the current price is 0.001, then you would need at least 100 million tokens in order to get there. Now, let's just say, for example, that you only had 50,000 tokens because, you know, it's just what you can afford. Well, you would need the price to do a 20,000x at that point in time, and the price would need to reach $20. So there's a different way of looking at these every single time, but becoming a crypto millionaire in this ecosystem isn't too far-fetched, folks. Especially if you have Hex right now, the current price is sitting in the ballpark of about 8.5 cents or 8.1 cents. So if you were to look here at this range, what did I click on? I messed it up. Okay, cool. So yeah, at this point in time, this would definitely be showing that, like, hey, I would need the price to say, like, say you had 200,000 Hex coins right now, or 200,000 Hex. Well, you would need the price in order to do a millionaire hit $5 at this time if you were to come in and get yourself 200,000 tokens. So 200,000 tokens at this point in time times 0.085 would roughly be about $17,000 right now for the initial investment in order to get there. And Hex price hitting $5 isn't too far-fetched, friends. This is definitely something feasible within the next bull run. We're already in that next bull run right now. So if you are looking to become that next millionaire, you know, this is one way of doing it. Now, I want to say, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, Brasology comes in clutch with the messages too. So let me actually pull that up real fast, because it's always cool when you get a chance to actually see exactly what it looks like right here. So let me pull this up and get this going. live, and boom, becoming. Okay, cool. So let me actually pull up the message and tweet that actually your friend Somi created, and it makes a whole bunch more sense when you actually look at it that way. So let me get there where I can pull up Brissology's message as well, because I usually don't have the stream going in the background. So let me just pull that up. Bam, got the stream right here. Pull it up over here. All right, your friend Somi says data shows majority of stackers for PulseX put in $100 to $1,000. I think we can go 100x for PulseX, but not 1,000x in the first cycle. It's hard for all 1K stackers to become millionaires and the 100K dudes to make $100 million. I want to be wrong about this. I hope it overshoots. So he actually kind of broke down where all the wallets ended up being. So his target for PulseX is 100x within the first cycle. He says he does want to be wrong in this as well. So data, most wallets sacrifice between $100 to $1,000 for PulseX. I think it can go 100x, but not 1,000x. And that's because I don't see the majority of stackers becoming millionaires for $1,000. So you can see on this little chart here how many wallets were actually sacrificed within this range between, it looks like $100 right here and all the way up to whoops. Yeah, you can see. I wonder if I can. I'm trying to work this out to where I can show you. So what if I zoom out and then zoom in like that? Does that? No, that's worse. Okay, cool. I'll just zoom in. So yeah, you can see right here, basically showing that the price being $100 to $1,000 is roughly, what is that? 34,000, 18,000, and 17,000. So how many people is that? 68,000 people roughly. 68,000 people, all within $100 to $1,000. That is quite a bit of money being sacrificed, all within this range, and very shocking. Yeah, the $1 make me laugh. There's definitely people who sacrifice just for the potential airdrop possibility. And yeah, I mean, guys, if you think about this, like, not everyone's gonna make it first. Let's just say that. Yeah, that is the tweet that I was talking about, Brissology. Appreciate you sharing that as well. That not everyone's gonna not everyone's gonna actually live through the cycles of all of this, right? Like, there's gonna be so many people who are gonna see even a 20x, and they've never had that happen before, turn 1,000 into 20,000, and they're out, right? And so I do think it's possible that we actually end up going higher than this personally, you know, and this is all based on what I've looked at previously as well. And I've shown you all this, and I'll show you briefly once again. But this is kind of the PulseX comparison as to normal DEXs and how they work. And you can see based on this information that we end up being roughly about, out of all the DEXs that have launched previously, 519x within the span of a year. So he's saying, he's being so cautious when he's saying 100x, and that's cool. I'm just going based on the average of what these have done. And, you know, some of these other ones, you know, they're just kind of like, I don't really know what's happening with them too much. I'm not too familiar with like Rune, for example, and those DEXs. But in this example, there's definitely like Cake, who's gone and done a 200x. You know, Uni's done 100x within 229 days, Cake within 173 days. I think this has better mechanics, better tokenomics, better features, better everything. And out of all of it, I have to say 519x could easily be something that I might see being very possible. So it is fun to just kind of see. Check out that tweet that I put under Somi's. Exactly. Oh, check out you. What'd you say? What'd you say? Now I gotta show more replies. I gotta find a Brissology message on this one. Jenkins, dude, why does it not just give me all the replies all at once? Like, and maybe I can just go. Again, guys, I'm not a Twitter guy. I don't Twitter. I don't Twitter myself. So, I occasionally put out the tweets, but I don't see your message, Briss. Here you go. You can also think of it this way. Top 100 wallets all put in a minimum of $1 million. I expect some dumping from them when they hit their first 50x to 100x. Buy the dip, boys. But depending on how thick the liquidity pools are, if they try to exit with large amounts, they may eat lots of slippage and giving the smaller players opportunity to raise their ranks. And with a deflationary token, once they sell it, it will be hard to regain those positions. Bam, Brasology, my man, coming in clutch on that one for sure, for sure. I got to agree with that completely. There's been many statements that have happened during this time, and especially if you actually look at, look at this. Like there's one wallet in particular, 50 million. We're not even going to count that. There's over a million. There's 100 wallets in total, if I'm not mistaken. That's 93 plus 9 plus 4 plus 2. So roughly about 102 wallets, anywhere between 200 people, all with their 200 wallets, all between 500,000 plus. Yeah, they're definitely going to be taking profits. Why? Because they don't have to wait as long to see the massive gains. That's the same reason why you get the big investors in Bitcoin right now who can truly go and put billions of dollars into it, get a 2x, and be happy that they went from 1 billion to 3 billion or 1 billion to 2 billion, or if they put in whatever, right? Say, for example, they put in 2 billion and it goes and does a 4x. They turn 2 billion into 8 billion. That's massive amount of money. That is so much money. So they don't need to see massive X's in order to see the return back from their investment. Most people do. Now, these folks who are doing millions of dollars here, they don't need to see these massive X's. So if they see a 25X, for example, and you put in a $10 million or even $5 million and you go and do a 25X, you're getting a massive freaking return, right? If I'm not mistaken. I mean, what is that? 250 million at that point? So 5 million times 25, yeah, $125 million based on the 5 mil. Like, yeah, they're going to take profit, man. And that's on a 25X, right? We're not even talking into the bigger ranks and 50 and 100 and that kind of stuff. So yeah, they don't have to see the massive X's, and they just redistribute their wealth and resend it out. And that's that redistribution of wealth that we always talk about happening right now with Hex. As a matter of fact, every single day you see these red days, there are always more buyers than sellers. Over the last 2 years, there have always been more buyers right now than sellers. So this has been a very, very common thing. And yes, there will be days where the sellers sell more in dollar value to dump the price and cause the red candles, but they do not have enough economic power to fully get everyone out of the ecosystem. Appreciate that. It's just me, or it's me. I love to subscribe on that one as well. But guys, you got to understand, like, yeah, it's freaking absolutely crazy. Some people sacked small amounts because they don't stay in the West. $100 is a lot of money out there. Dude, my father-in-law lives in Taiwan. So you got to understand that, like, we can basically send him like $1,000, and that's enough for him to live on. That pays for like his house, his food, his utilities, his life, and everything like that. Whereas, here in the U.S., for example, you're typically not able to get much with $1,000. You're typically lower on the lower end, but you can go to some places like Thailand, even, for example. And I remember going there whenever I was in the Marine Corps. There was a time that we went there, and my buddies and I got a hotel, and I think we ended up spending I think it was like $25 a piece, and that gave us full bottle service, and it was between like 3 of us, right? So it was like full bottle service, the hotel room, it was all the freaking fun and all the party you could possibly want for less than $100. Like, you go to a bar right now and try to get a couple of drinks for $100, and you're already done, and that's a couple drinks, and we're talking about an all night type situation for little less than $100, and that's good fun on that one for sure. So yeah, they don't necessarily need to see the massive returns like we do here in the US, for example, or if you're somewhere else. Then you 30x that, people's lives will be changed. Yeah, for sure. People's lives are going to change drastically with the launch of PulseChain. Like a true launch of PulseChain is going to see a lot of people's lives change, because you got to understand, it's not just PulseX that people sacrifice for. It's not just PulseChain that people sacrifice for. Every ERC20 token that you currently have is getting copied and pasted onto the new network. So even if you didn't have, for example, PulseChain or PulseX, and I'm not going to say don't go get them, because if you don't have them, get yourself the 4 pillar, not financial advice, but if you have a chance to where you can end up taking the hex that you currently have, the stakes that you currently have. We just looked at the little sheet right here a second ago saying if you have 200,000 tokens and it's at 8 cents right now, and that's where you bought it at, and you spent the $17,000 today to get hex, to get 200,000 tokens, the price would need to get $5. That's just to become a millionaire on the Ethereum chain. What happens when you actually get it copied over and the price ends up reaching $5 over there as well? That's $2 million that you just got for free because you currently held it on the Ethereum network before the fork of PulseChain. So it like there's a whole bunch of lives that are about to be changed, a whole bunch of silly plays that are about to be made. People are going to be getting silly with the amount of money that they're going to be dumping, wasting, going and doing a whole bunch of stuff because they're like, I got it for free. Or some people are actually doing the opposite, where they're going to sell what they have now. And I don't recommend this play at all, but I'll say it. But they're going to sell what they have now, or at least half their stack, because why? They know that it's getting copied over for the other half on PulseChain. So in their head, they're thinking, I got 200,000 hex, I can sell 100,000 now, take out the money, and then I can have 100,000 on PulseChain and 100,000 on Ethereum. I don't think that's the right play, but everyone's going to have their own decision, and you got to make that decision for yourself, because guys, we're big boys and girls. You got to make the decision to say, I own, I own my mistake, and I take it for what it is. So yeah, it was just a crazy little moment that I think doesn't really get talked about often enough. And I think it should be mentioned that people are playing that right now, right? People are trading right now in the anticipation of PulseChain. People are going to make these plays whenever PulseChain launches. That to us, to someone who maybe better understands the economics of what could be potentially possible in the future, find it crazy that they would sell on a 2 or 5x, right? Now, guys, taking profits and selling, two different things. Whenever I say sell, I'm talking about getting out of your position. I think that is ridiculous and not the right play at all. Taking profits, very wise, guys, like very freaking wise. I heard Randy Alarski talking on his stream the other day about some mistake that he, would potentially EES some stakes if we end up getting into a bull run next run, and how he regretted how he got to see the money turn into a lot of money, and then he watched it all fall away because the stakes were out longer. And that's the purpose, so that way you don't wreck yourself. But he talked about like EESing some stakes, and again, I don't think that's the play, right? Personally, I just don't see that being the way to do it. But again, everyone's gonna have their own decision that they need to make up. If you had one Bitcoin to convert to hex, how would you do it? As soon as possible or little by little? It's me. What a great question, right? So the current price of Bitcoin sitting in the ballpark of what, 25,000, if I'm not mistaken, last I checked. And I know we're just kind of bouncing probably in this 25,000 range. And so it's just a matter of time before we kind of end up moving onward and upward into something a little bit bigger and better. Yeah, it's sitting right now at 25. So if you had 25K right now, I mean, at this point in time, again, not financial advice, but it depends on if you have no hex. It depends on if you have, what your goal is. I'm always a big fan of a delayed entry, like DCA entry into a new coin that you don't currently have. So if you have $25,000 right now, then maybe you put 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and you do that over the 55, 55, right? You do that over the span of 5 days, for example, right? And then that way you can just kind of capture some higher moments, some lower moments. But you got to have a longer term vision in this. One, we're getting all the copies on PulseChain. So everything that you do right now, Bitcoin is useless in my opinion, because it's not getting copied. So why would I even want to hold Bitcoin knowing that there's about to be a fork of Ethereum happening right now? And so, like, again, I'm going to be playing it in a world that I'm going to move this, we'll say 1 Bitcoin into... I know, he's out. Bezo! Bezo! Well, you took them everywhere today. You took them everywhere. You took them everywhere. Go Delta. You gotta go on.
Oh, that was a good effort, my love.
Go on, Delta. Oh, that sit-up was hard. Oh, that's it. Go, Delta. Go. Delta, go. All right, good boy. Yeah. My wife took the pups for adventure today, and he is just fucking knocked out. I mean, she's been up since like 4 a.m. this morning. We had to take a friend to surgery. The surgery went well, to anyone who cares. But at the same time, he got to go adventure all around the downtown area, check out all the different parks, went on so many different trails because she was waiting for the friend to come out of surgery. And so he got to go everywhere ever since this morning, and he's just knocked out right now. So fun little fact there. But to answer the question, yeah, exactly. Yeah, 55, lol. Yeah, that's how it all works. But in all reality, it's me. I would be looking at getting anything that's not an ERC20 into an ERC20. Now, whether that's Ethereum, Hex, your own choice of whatever other ERC20 token that you prefer. If you have other coins on other networks, BNB, Polygon, all these other different tokens that are out there, they aren't getting copied, right? So I'm looking to maximize your potential. And that's moving it into at least an ERC20 until the fork of PulseChain. Now, we don't know when that's going to be. It could be in the next freaking month. It could be in the next 2 months. It could be in the next year. We literally have no idea. It's already taken way longer than I ever thought it would. But if I did have the one Bitcoin, I would sell it. It's looking like right now 25K is a good range right now. You may end up seeing 25 go to 30, which in this case would end up pushing the price roughly about 20%. And in my case, whenever I look at these charts and I look at it, 20% is something that happens with Hex in a day, for example. So I don't see that 20% gain being like worth it in this example. I would see the chances that we end up seeing something like Hex reaching 10 cents, for example, more likely. In terms of with the everything happening, and that would put it back at the 22% price gain, right? From the current price of where it is right now. So I'm more of a fan if you don't have any, go slow into it. That way, because like you could either set limit orders, but I don't think limit orders are the way to go right now. Because with the announcement of V3, we could easily see the Hex price double, right? From where it currently is, from 8 cents to 16 cents. And because you're going to have people thinking that PulseChain is going to be launching shortly after. They want to move everything into Hex, get it best for liquidity play, best for whatever play they want to use it. Use Hex as a tool to get into PulseChain, PulseX, and there's so many different other things too. You got rugged. Well, we've just been rugged all around here today, haven't we, Alan? But yeah, it's me. That's what I'm looking at. I would be personally trying to get into any ERC20, whether that's Hex or another token of your choice, because I'm looking forward to, I'm playing the PulseChain fork. And even if that means that you don't hold Bitcoin and it goes from, we'll just say 25K to 50K, which I don't see being very likely, but if it does, that would only be a 2x, whereas I could see Hex doing a 2x much faster. I mean, just to kind of give you an example real fast, I'll show you the Bitcoin chart and I'll show you the Hex chart, and I'll show you what I'm talking about real quick as well. So if I come over here to Bitcoin, for example, and I look on this little chart, if you go back and just see how it's done since the beginning of the year. So we're just going to go down from January of 2023, somewhere right here, January 1st, 2023. It's only done a 60% gain at this point in time. So like Bitcoin's kind of that old coin that if you got lots of it, then cool. If you don't have lots of it, 60% in crypto isn't really too worth it, too much worth it. And that's in the span of what, 10 weeks. And then if I come over here to Hex, for example, and just do that same exact chart, same exact move, and again, not saying that you've missed this or anything either, because Hex is still very freaking early. But if you come over here and do this same move from January 1st, we'll just say from here all the way up to today's current price, it's already gone and done a 350% increase. So that's what, 4 times better than what Bitcoin has done. Again, this is kind of what I'm looking at. And again, I do anticipate that we will see Hex come back and hit this like 10-cent range. That's based on this little fib retracement channel right here, going from where it was in the previous local high to the previous local low. I could easily see us come back here to this 10-cent range, and guess what? From the current price up to that range, you're sitting at a good 22-23% gain right there. So it's always crazy. It's me. It depends on what your level of risk is. If personally, I just don't see Bitcoin being the token that, if I'm in crypto, it's not really the crypto I'm looking for. I'm looking for like the true decentralized thing, and now there's way too many entities all involved within Bitcoin, centralized exchanges all holding Bitcoin, so many other things, which isn't bad in terms of its like true price. And that just means that it's probably going to be good, but the gains are going to be a lot less. It takes so much capital to be able to move it just a little bit to get it back to the all-time high around 70K. Whereas in Hex, someone comes in with 10 mil or 100 mil in the span of a month. The price is already back up to all-time high, and you're seeing a nice little, like, instead of 4x, you're seeing a nice little 10, 20x type range. So that's what I'm looking at right there. What's up, Diggs? How you doing, my friend? Me too. My kid has an exam tomorrow. Hey, plebs wrecked on ETH because of gas anyways. Yeah, gas sucks, man. And again, like the reason why I also choose Hex, by the way, for the ERC20 of my choice is because if I look at Ethereum right now, I wrapped Ethereum. If I look at Ethereum and do that same chart, Ethereum hasn't really done much since the beginning of the year either, right? I've looked at the same little move, and because it's so freaking correlated to Bitcoin right now, I look to see like how big it's done, and it's done a 50%. So it's done less than Bitcoin has, and so that doesn't inspire the confidence that I'm looking for and the crypto that I'm wanting to be in, because you can see on this correlations chart right here, Bitcoin and Ethereum are now freaking basically matched with each other, right? If you go back and look at 1 year of how long they've been around, Bitcoin and Ethereum at a 90% correlation. Even here on the 30-day, they're at a 92% correlation. So it's very likely when one goes up, the other also goes up, and one goes down, the other also goes down. Whereas Hex, for example, is so decorrelated and decoupled from this, it's only at a 30% correlation between Bitcoin and between Ethereum, right? And that's phenomenal. That just means it has more likely, look at this, within the last 24 hours, super decorrelated. But yeah, I mean, that's the only reason why I would choose Hex. You can go through here and type in any other token and just kind of compare and contrast and see which one's going to be a little bit better. Look at the chart. Again, Hex is my choice just because it's already proven itself. People want to get away from stablecoins after the debacle of the stablecoin DPEG happening. And yeah, I mean, absolutely. So plebs should be trying to make bags on Pulse. Yeah, I mean, you want it. So again, I'm a fan of all four. I'm a fan of the 4-pillar ecosystem, right? Get yourself some PulseChain, get yourself some PulseX, get yourself Hex on both. And again, the way you get yourself Hex on both is by having it now. What's up? Oh, I don't see him. He's just sleeping. Get yourself Hex now, because when PulseChain does launch, you'll have it on both networks, right? And so it's just a quick little way of making sure that you get yourself the 4 pillars. So if you're able to get yourself, we'll say $5,000 worth of Hex at this point in time, or 200,000 Hex coins at this point in time, which is roughly about $17,000 at the current price. Well, at this point, this would actually be a nice little bag, because then you get 200,000 on Ethereum, 200,000 on PulseChain, and then you get yourself PulseX and PulseChain. So it all depends, like, did you sacrifice, did you not sacrifice, what is going to be the play when it comes around to Pulse actually launching? What are you planning on doing? How are you planning on doing it? Do you have a plan at all, right? Like, are you going to go in, try to go willy-nilly and just do freaking Wild West style and just start shooting and trying to transact? And I think Randy Alarski talks about it too, where he just, throws darts at stuff and sees what happens, right? in terms of his staking strategy, right? He doesn't really have like a method in all regard, but you know, I think if you can set yourself up a good plan right now, a good strategy right now, then yeah, you're going to be able to benefit quite a bit. Yeah, of course. Thank you as well. It's me. Much love as well. I'm listening to you while at work using my fake earplugs. If I get fired, I may have to sue you for all your hacks. I'm just too enticing. I couldn't stop listening to him. The Christmas tree caught my attention. The t-shirt rate on PHEX will be so low on day 2 of PulseChain because people selling Pulse for Pulse, so that would be the best time to stake on PHEX. The t-shirt rate on PHEX will be so low on day 2 of PulseChain because people selling for Pulse. The t-shirt rate's going to be the same. Like every single, like this t-shirt rate right here, this 26,631, it's going to cost 26,630. Like assuming PulseChain was to launch today, for example, it's going to cost 26,631 hex on PulseChain as well. Like everything is getting copied, right? So like everything that's happened, all of the days that have happened, everything that's going through, like it's all a snapshot from one time. So when it happens, it's not like it starts out on a fresh t-shirt rate of 10,000 again like it once did. It's going to be 26,631 hex, which is why I anticipate that over the span of hex that we're going to see Pulse hex actually end up getting 30,000 hex per t-share faster than Ethereum hex because people are going to do shorter stakes, they're going to do bigger stakes, they're going to do a whole bunch of stuff that's all transacting along the same thing, but every single time someone ends their stake, it ratchets up the t-share to make sure that they can't get the same. And because people are doing such short stakes and everything like that over and over again, oh, gotcha. Yeah, I see what you're saying. The price. Yeah, so we're all saying the same thing. Finbear's like, what? I don't think that's right. The t-shirt rate won't go down ever. In dollars, maybe, yeah. Price-wise, I could definitely see price-wise being much less, much less, right? Because, like, I personally am not a believer that we're going to see the same price hex on two networks, right? I just don't think that's going to happen. And if it happens for like a day or something, cool. Like if it happens in passing, cool. Like I don't count that as reaching parity. There's some people in the ecosystem that think that we're going to be having, you know, possible 8-cent hex over on PulseChain and 8-cent hex over on Ethereum. And I don't see that being the case personally. But if you can find a way to scoop up some freaking hex from some amazing deal, like one pulse gets you, 10 hex or something like that. And again, you got to figure out all the ratios or the 1 to 10 ratio or something like that. Then you could end up scooping up a big bag of hex for a very good deal. But ratio trading is very risky. So be mindful about what you do and how you do it. Yeah, price wise, I could definitely see it being less because again, I think the price of hex is going to be cheaper, but everything's going to be cheaper, right? You got to imagine so everything that you have will just be kind of a little bit less expensive over on the new network because there's going to have to be new liquidity provided, new liquidity injected. All this stuff is going to have to happen. Whereas right now on the Ethereum network, you can already see we already got liquidity for days provided up within this range. You got liquidity over here on the Hex Ethereum already for days, right? And this liquidity is going to have to come in, especially if there's no bridge when it first launches, which there won't be. And speaking of a bridge, guys, do y'all know if Pulse Ramp is going to fix the ability for them to update the test network? Because Rinkeby no longer exists. This testnet for Ethereum no longer exists. They got rid of that 2-3 months ago, 4 months ago, something like that. So I'm curious if PulseRamp.com is going to update this so we can actually practice on bridging in, show people how to bridge in. Because right now, you can't actually show anything. You can't show this as the testnet. They've moved it over to the Gorelli testnet. And I'm just wondering if anyone knows who actually hosts this page in particular, if they have any idea of maybe send a message and ask them. Because I personally don't know for sure. Because this is built by the PulseChain community. I just don't know who built it. I would definitely think that we should work on making this the Gorelli network, because there is no more chainlist.org. There is no more Ethereum. Let's just do ETH. Whoops. ETH. Include testnet. And yeah, I mean, look how many networks they have. These are all main nets right now. Oh, come on. Update. Oh, I need to click search. Okay, cool. It's just really slow right now. Why are you going so slow, man? Why are you going so slow? Include testnets. Ethereum. Yeah, I don't know. I know they do have test nets right now. It's like the Gorelli network or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is for sure. It's just been a while since I've actually looked at it or messed with it or done anything like that. Why won't it show me though? Because it used to actually show all this. This is something that's pretty cool too. Chainlist.org, if y'all don't know. You used to be able to actually come in here and type in PulseChain. See, it's not even showing up right now. It's just doing everything just super slow. Why are you going so slow, man? Why are you going so slow, man? Go back. Back to the home page. Chainlist. Cool. So I used to be able to type in PulseChain, and it would show up right here. So this is going to be the main net when it goes live, 369. That's freaking dope that they've already got that for the chain ID. Everything is 369 and hex and everything like that. Absolutely love it. I can click include test nets right now. And last time I did this, they actually showed this as testnet v3. They already have the bridge ID and all that already made. I don't know why it's not loading. I'm not even going to bother with this website anymore. But it was a cool little website that, you know, I haven't checked it out in a while. I was just pulling it up while chatting with y'all to see what was going on. Cool. Yeah, dollars, exactly. Dollar bills, y'all. Just like my dates. Cheap and nice. Oh shit, too funny. I have equal amount of hex, pulse x, and because I believe that p hex will drop significantly day one, my plan is to acquire p hex, as I feel that's the one I will be short of. Cool, love it. I'm sure they will, but we can tweet at them. That's, yeah, I hope they will for bridge. Yeah, cool. That's a Twitter forum, PulseChain.com. Why did I sell my hex, man? FYI, guys, be careful if you Google Chainlist. There are paid scam links, listings. Always verify the domain name. Cool. Yeah, it's chainlist.org. But yeah, I mean, that's interesting that you say that. So good little fun fact. Yeah, we definitely need to update them, man, because like you can't even like showcase how to bridge stuff in right now, and that's going to be something that I think we all are wanting to showcase whenever V3 gets here, because there's going to be so many folks that still have never bridged before in particular. And yeah, you can show how to bridge into another network and all that good stuff, but I think it's just easier if you actually show what it is, how to connect to the RPC, how to connect to your MetaMask, make sure they're all connected, make sure you have everything done. There's a Gorelli testnet, you can use that and all that good stuff as well. So I haven't seen them update this website in forever, because, I mean, shit, dude, RinkB went down like months ago for sure. So hopefully they get that up and running. That would be absolutely epic if we're able to get a chance to actually see it in action. But yeah, guys, there's a lot of information right there, all packed in. Love absolutely tuning in for all of you folks. Hopefully y'all have a wonderful day, and I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.